Protect brothers and sisters, Black Power. As always, giving honor to the Creator, giving honor to the ancestors. My sister, Chief of Staff, Brother Harris Abdul, my father, my in-laws, my family, brothers and sisters, my comrades that are all fighting for the liberation and salvation of a black nation. And also to my subscribers, my followers, my viewers, my listeners, my supporters, and anyone that I didn't mention, please forgive me. So let's get on with today's topic. Music provided by Brother Tupac Shakur. May he rest in power and continue to keep blessing us with his gifts. What I want to talk about, the topic of the day is Mike Tyson never came home. And I hope you all kind of understand where I'm coming from with this. Based on the fact that when Mike Tyson, who was heavyweight champion of the world, and dominated the entire sport of boxing, you know, with at the size that he was, you know, he was pretty short guy, but extremely strong, extremely gifted. And the ancestors and the Creator had provided him with an enormous amount of heart, talent, strength, and determination. And also knowledge. As you can see right here, excuse me, let me see if I can lighten it up a little bit. As you can see, Donald Trump, who, when I told you all that presidents are selected, y'all have to please believe me when I tell you these things. As a matter of fact, I may show you all. Yeah, give me a second and I'm going to show you all how this comes about. Yeah, I couldn't locate what I was looking for in terms of the video, but as you all may know, that these presidents are selected years and years before they are placed in office, before they are sworn in. And Donald Trump was on Oprah Winfrey in the 90s, stating that he was running for president. This was in the 90s. So it lets you know how far back they can go to put you in office. You know, Barack Obama didn't just up and say he wanted to be president. This was planned. Everything was choreographed. But back to Mike Tyson. You know, Don King, who, as you can see, the entire, the bougie, boule, ruthless ice, how they surrounded this ice ape, who Trump, before, while he was in real estate, when he was running Trump Plaza, he was exploiting a lot of black fighters, along with that piece of shit, you know, that looked at buckwheat looking motherfucker beside him. Don Poppin' Bob Buckwheat King. You know, and Jesse Jackass Jackson. You know, when you see these niggas around, you know it's blood that is being shed. Because they are like vampires and they suck blood in terms of money out of black men, out of black people, period. You know, but the story of Mike Tyson is he was destined to be great. You know, this was given by the ancestors. See, a lot of you all don't know, when you are given a gift, whether it's just speaking or whether it's athletic, whether it's becoming a lawyer, a doctor, or whatever the case may be, The Creator and the ancestors prepare you. You are molded from the beginning. You know, most of the time without your knowledge, without you knowing anything about what you gonna turn out to be. You have already been molded, and the things that you go through are just stepping stones to strengthen you. Example, if you notice, most of our greatest people, before they became great and prominent, they were destitute, living in poverty, you know, no parental guidance, prison time, drugs, crime, criminal thinking and behavior, before they reached the plateau in which the Creator and the ancestors had designed for them. But with Mike Tyson, he made $300 million in a matter of a couple of years. But at the same time, he didn't know anything about managing money. He wanted to help his people, because that's the thing that most of us say when we are blessed with enormous amount of cash, that we want to help the world. We want to end homelessness in the black community. We want to end drug addiction. We want to end crime. We want to end poverty. You know, but at the same time, we could run into a demonic queen that's sent by the devil, by white supremacy, to capture your emotions, your heart, and you become blind to everything around you while you're being taken for bad and being robbed and you're being exploited. And that was the case with this hoe. She was a whore. Robin Givens was a whore. She loved to suck white dick. She was a straight slut hoe. When Tyson and Givens were married, Brad Pitt was fucking Robin Givens, taking her out, fucking her, dropping her back off. Tyson caught them one time and was heartbroken. And Tyson thought, when you have a lot of money, you don't, like, once again, you're unable to think. If you run into millions of dollars and you come from straight poverty to millionaire status, you have no budgeting skills, you have no money managing skills, you're thinking with your heart, you're thinking with your penis, and you're going to run into a lot of trouble. And if you have substance abuse issues, you have issues with your parents, you have issues with your family, it just, you know, the situations just compile up, and you believe that a dollar can fix anything. But when you are around a bunch of leeches that don't have your best interests at heart, their goal is to decimate you and reduce you to nothingness. That was the case with Mike Tyson. Don King leading the charge on the extermination of Mike Tyson. Starting off with economic castration. And so Tyson, thinking that he can conquer the world with his money, ran into a lot of problems. Because, excuse me one second, because during the 90s, there was 3 mics that they wanted, that were taking over, that was ruling the world, literally, at that time. Michael Jackson being one, Michael Jordan being the other, and Mike Tyson. And so what they did to the three of them, Michael Jordan's father was murdered. They put the children, set Mike up with the children, and set Mike Tyson up with the rape charge to a sexual two. Michael Jackson and Mike Tyson both had sexual assault charges. One on children, one on an adult. And Michael Jordan's father was murdered. And so when Robin Givens, who didn't love nothing about Tyson, nothing about Mike Tyson, she was hustling, and she brought her mother into the entire marriage, where Tyson was literally married to both of them. And if you look at the picture where Mike Tyson is trying to get an affectionate kiss from Robin Givens, she had no love for him. She was sent by white supremacy to tear him down. You know, and so she had to go. She went on Barbara Walters and talked about how Mike Tyson was such a monster and so violent and so intimidating, which described all the all the positive characteristics of a strong black warrior god that's a champion of the world in fighting. But she used that to turn the public against Mike Tyson. And that's the main thing that the Illuminati, these crackers, do. They first have to turn the public against you. Once they do that, like they did Bill Cosby, they're able to do whatever they please with you after that. Don King, who leeched on Tyson, exploited Tyson. Not only Tyson, Buster Douglas, Evander Holyfield, Tim Witherspoon, Larry Holmes, and the list goes on and on and on. All of those fighters left the sport of boxing damn near penniless. And they were multi-millionaires. These were title holders. Some of these brothers had 2 and 3 belts. But when they left the sport, fucking around with Don King, they had nothing. And if you don't even hear about certain brothers who were heavyweight champions, that Don King really ripped them apart economically, morally, mentally, emotionally. And Mike Tyson was one as well. And so, when they talked about, before Mike Tyson went to jail, Mike Tyson was introduced to Islam. And he went to Mecca. He made his pilgrimage. He made his Hajj in Mecca by way of coercion, thinking that Allah was going to get him off the prison sentence, which no one could, because he had became a victim of white supremacy. Also, he was tricked and seduced by Chinese women in Tokyo. Japanese women seduced him, took him for bad, fucked him half to death, got him drunk, got him high, made him weak to face Buster Douglas, who just lost his mother and his daughter's mother, back to back. And he was a 48-1 underdog. Meaning if you had put 48,000, if you had put if you had put $100,000 on Buster Douglas, you would have become a multi-millionaire. And so Mike Tyson, thinking that he was going to be okay, a 48-1 underdog, he could end it. But it wasn't designed for him to end it. It wasn't designed for him to win that fight. Also, he was coming up too close on Marciano's record. Rocky Marciano, you know, the linguine eating Italian Jew bagel eating motherfucker, who Mike Tyson would have destroyed if they both had fought in their prime. Mike Tyson would have annihilated his ass. The same as Joe Louis. However, they waited. Marciano waited till Joe Louis was burnt out and old before he crushed him. And so he was tricked into losing that fight, although he did win the fight because they allowed Buster Douglas to stay on the mat an extra 3 seconds. And when he got up, he knocked out an exhausted Mike Tyson. So the Marciano record was not in danger anymore. Now, to get him out of boxing, period, to take his money from him, because he is a straight, intelligent thug. See, if Mike Tyson didn't have any intelligence, they would have just let him be. But when Mike Tyson began to talk about the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, George Soros, when Mike Tyson began to talk about the system of racism, white supremacy, and he was very knowledgeable of it, it was time for him to go to jail. So they got Desiree Washington, a stinking slut hoe that was bought and paid for by white supremacy. And she was tricked by white supremacy. Because she was promised a career in fashion, a career in modeling, a shot at being Miss Universe, a shot at being Miss Black America. And they reneged on it, hoping that Mike Tyson would kill her before she began to run her mouth. And so off Tyson goes to jail. Prior to the big fight he was supposed to have with Evander Holyfield. He spends 3 years. 3 years in the pen, not in the penitentiary. And I'll explain where he went at in a second. He practices Islam. He's sentenced to 3 years. The entire time he was incarcerated, he studied Islam pretty deep. Now, he was sent to a juvenile correctional facility in Indiana. Now, why would you send a grown man, the heavyweight champion of the world, to a children's prison? A prison for little children, a teenage prison. And the reason being that those teens would not be able to tell a CIA official from a prison official, opposed to the adults would have known that these CIA officials came in and administered MK Ultra to Mike Tyson. And so the youths would not even pay any attention to this, opposed to the adults. So Tyson, under MK Ultra, he's practicing Islam. He's not doing calisthenics any longer, which gave him the physical strength to become heavyweight champion, because that's his natural strength. Now he's on weights. He's lifting weights now. He's become a bit more slimmer. and much more slower as far as hand speed, as you can see here. And he loses his zeal. He loses his boxing swagger when he starts fucking with those weights. And so this was a setup by people in his corner that was paid by white supremacy to put Tyson in a position where he could not beat Holyfield. Because the fight with Holyfield was not about two men fighting for the heavyweight champion of the world. This was about two religions. Holyfield being a devout Christian, Tyson being a devout Muslim. And so this was Islam versus Christianity. Holyfield comes into the ring with purple trunks, with all types of scriptures on inside his trunks, on his shoes. Tyson in his normal gladiator, no socks and black trunks. And so it was the villain Tyson against the savior, Evander Holyfield. And by Tyson lifting weights, not having his natural weight, not having his natural strength and swag, Holyfield beat the shit out of him. Tyson, out of frustration, bites Holyfield, bite half of his ear off, and he's under scrutiny. People are looking at him like he's out of his mind. But the real reason was because Holyfield's a headbutter. And so they allowed Holyfield to fight any way he wanted to fight without saying anything. And every time Tyson did the smallest infraction, he was given all types of warnings. And so Tyson, being overwhelmed with frustration, practiced cannibalism in the ring. Holyfield ended up knocking him down. And as you can see how Tyson, his legs were not the same. He didn't have that thick, natural power and physique any longer. Still under the hypnosis of MK Ultra, he's placed on medication. He begins to talk overly passive. His emotions are up and down, laughing one minute, crying the next minute, having temper tantrums, not able to talk, not able to speak his true mind. Because see, Don King is paid. They allow him to say, nigga, that, you know, the white man there, see, like they do Sharpton. They allow certain Negroes to say the white man shit, long as they keep it at a minimum. And that's to keep the people trusting these motherfucking niggas. Because when you see any of these boule niggas say the white man this and the white man that and white supremacy, the people think that he's for real and that, you know, he's the only one that's not selling out. When in fact, he's the biggest sellout. And so, you know, after it all was said and done, Tyson began losing fight after fight after fight after fight. You know, and they were no longer taking it. Kept losing fight after fight after fight, getting beat by bums. Lennox Lewis and, you know, crackers beating him up. And so, as a result of all the money that crackers lost betting on Mike Tyson, and Mike Tyson wanted to walk away from the sport of boxing, They just wouldn't allow that to go. And so his daughter was murdered. Now, how can this 4-year-old baby strangle her own self with a treadmill cord and the machine wasn't plugged in? With an unplugged machine, it was no way she could have strangled herself and murdered herself. Doesn't make sense. Tyson said with his own mouth when he found out his daughter, Exodus. Now her name is Exodus. And if you read the Bible, what does Exodus mean? Exodus means leaving. Exiting. It means leaving. Tyson's daughter, Exodus Tyson, was murdered. Tyson said in an interview following, shortly after the murder, that he felt like grabbing his pistol and going and just killing people. And when he was asked by the cracker, you were going to kill who? He said it doesn't matter. Meaning he knew that these motherfuckers killed that little baby. He knows this in his heart. This is a result after Tyson lost so much money. Tyson made these crackers lose so much money by continuing to fight to eat. Basically, Tyson was fighting to eat. He ran through $300 million. He probably only spent $20 million. The rest was gobbled up by Don King and other false niggas that was in Tyson's corner. They were just draining him, and he admitted it, that they was just sucking the blood and life out of him. And you all have to believe this. Tyson is a brilliant, intelligent brother. But when you go through what he went through, you know, and that's what led him to smoke crack and get in trouble or go to jail and throw the TV on the floor and a whole lot of other shit, because this MK Ultra that he was under had taken him mentally for a hell of a ride. And he's beginning to shake this shit off. But when you're under that particular program, like Kanye West is under MK Ultra, you know, if you want to understand MK Ultra much more better, get the movie Manchurian Candidate that Denzel Washington played in. It was originally done in the 60s with Frank Sinatra, but it was a remake with Denzel Washington. And what he was programmed to be an assassin. The Manchurian Candidate. You know, and Tyson was programmed just like Michael Jackson was programmed. Kanye West was programmed. Michael Jordan wasn't programmed. Michael Jordan just played ball because you never heard him ever trying to find out who murdered his father. The brother, Dennis Green, did not kill his father. This was a hit from John Gotti's people for Michael Jordan not willing to let the Knicks win the title for that year. And so you have to understand these things. You have to be clear about this shit. You know, stop believing everything these motherfuckers say, and they use niggas to pretend that they are fighting against the system when all actuality they are working with the system, but they have to convince you that they're not. That's why a lot of you niggas still believe in these fucking people. You still watch reality TV. You still watch these washed up rappers that are bisexuals that have been plugged in their ass. Their career's over with. They had one-hit wonders. And the only way they can eat is a reality show where they allow the cracker to live with them and expose every secret, every little secret about them, expose them publicly. And they use these blow up, put together sisters, because none of them have real shapes. You know, all of them have artificial asses, artificial tits, a horse's ass in terms of weed running all down their back. You know, they've had multiple types of surgery on their crunched up toes because before they started getting money, they was wearing each other's shoes that was too small, and they had more corn on their toes than Kellogg's. And so you got to understand the facade and the illusion that they put on our people. Mike Tyson never came home from prison because of the fact that the MK Ultra left him in prison. He was never the same person. He was never the same person. That's what I mean about Mike Tyson never coming home. He was never the same person physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Totally different. And it showed because he began under that MK Ultra. He allowed people that he would normally annihilate. They was beating the shit out of him, and he would smile. He would get up and kiss these motherfuckers after they, closed both of his fucking eyes, whoop the shit out of him, make him piss on himself, knock him out. He get up and hug and kiss him, wiping his blood off Lennox Lewis's cheek. But before the pre-fight, you said you would eat his babies. See, that's MK Ultra. It'll make you say things that you wouldn't normally say for fight hype. And now he goes around speaking and talking about, how the things that he done, exposing his life, and has to play like he's so peaceful and humble now. But he didn't listen to Ali and the others when they tried to school him to these crackers of the game. Mayweather's the same way. See, when they're hungry and they don't have nothing, they're not eating, they're the best fighters in the world. And then when they start winning, becoming champions, hundreds of millions of dollars, then you see a totally different person. Totally different person. You have these bullshitting fights, which this guy here from D.C., Barry Gibson, who stated that the Tyson Fury Floyd Mayweather fight was fixed, that they had